morning, everyone, and welcome to Community Connections. Glad you're joining us today. Beautiful. Well, we're ending May here, and June will soon be busting out all over. Lots of things going on in the Prescott Valley area. I'm Marnie, your host, along with Mark and Eddie and everyone. Say hi from the Prescott Valley Chamber of Commerce. My first guest is one of our fun events that we love in June. Sherry Reeves, who is with Prescott Dog Magazine, and we're going to talk about the annual Woofstock.
Woofstock and Adopt-a-thon, the 8th annual. Thanks for having me today, Marnie.
It's good to have you. I know when we did our first Woofstock, I wandered around saying, oh, I wanted a dog so bad. And I even a picture I took that with this little puppy that I'd seen at the Woofstock, and they're saying, no, Marty, you're not ready, you're not ready. And so here we are a few years later, and I'd love to bring my little Bailey and Gracie out there to, get them around other dogs, but just see all the wonderful vendors and activities that are going on during the day. So let's tell everybody about it.
Next Saturday, June 8th, from 10 to 3, we will be holding an event to celebrate all things dog.
Woof,
and
woof.
and
Good, huh?
an Adopt-a-thon. We have 15 rescues from around the state. In fact, in Prescott Dog this month, it just reminded me, your picture is in there with one of your adoptees.
Actually, I think I looked at it, and it was both of them.
Was
I
it?
just happened to be holding my Gracie, who won second place in the Toto
In the Toto.
Look-alike contest last year, and Gloria was holding my little Bailey, who is really much more of the Toto dog, just happens to be white.
Yep.
Little white Maltese Cairn Terrier mix,
And
but
we
it was
had
fun.
Such a good time with that
That was
contest.
fun. That was a blast.
This year, one of the things we're focusing on is the Rescue Me contest. A few years ago, we had a dog that was adopted right from the Best Looking Dog contest. At the end of the day, the new family followed him to the rescue that had him and took him on the spot.
Wow.
So that created the Rescue Me contest. At 11:30 will be a contest of tricks and talents of all varieties, of all adoptable dogs. So you can see what their actual skill levels are, what their temperaments are, get a little bit extra feel for them. And then at 1 o'clock, we're going to do the best looking dog. And we're
Yeah.
hoping that all the rescues will participate in that, because I haven't seen an ugly dog yet.
Absolutely not. All you have to do is look in their eyes, and it's like, oh, I love dog eyes. Yes, so let's talk about the Adopt-a-thon, though. You said 15 different rescues, and the value of adopting a dog through a rescue.
There are many, many value statements attached to adoption. I always say it saves 3 lives. It saves the dog that you're adopting, the dog that's still on the street that needs to get into that rescue so they can find their forever home. And I don't know a dog owner yet that has ever told me that it did not improve their lives as well.
Well, I was one of those that fell hopelessly in love with one and then got a second one just so they'd have a companion. Now I've got like the trio, me, the 2 dogs.
And they just multiply.
No, three's plenty. So let's talk about the vendors. You also have a wide variety of vendors that come out for this.
Most definitely. My thanks to Little Dealer Subaru and Prescott Valley Pet Clinic, Farbenhold Dog Training, Run Amok, for supporting this. And that is not a complete list by any stretch of the imagination, but without them, we couldn't put this on at all. But we invite the rescues starting in October the year before. Get everybody ready, our vendors. You can talk about your dog. You can talk about your dog's needs. You can visit other nonprofits that are dog related. One of my favorites is Don't Leave Me in the Car.
Absolutely.
And the director of that organization comes from the Valley up here to talk to all of us. We don't think we have a problem necessarily until it gets really hot. We have a problem all the time.
Absolutely.
It should never happen.
No, absolutely not. And then, of course, throughout the day, you have the different contests on the main stage.
Most
And fun
definitely.
things.
Most definitely. Pet
Best
owner
costume?
look-alike.
I love that one.
Best costume, one of my favorites. For Woofstock, it's psychedelic to go along with the Woofstock theme. But people come year after year, and it's amazing they make the costumes that are presented on their dogs during the contest.
Wow.
That is dedication.
But that's almost an industry in itself anymore, not only through Halloween when you want to dress your dog up like we all dress up, but also year-round rompers and T-shirts. I mean, you go to any pet store and you find all these fun things to dress your dog in.
The pet industry is worth about
Huge.
$6 billion a year.
Oh, wow. And it's amazing how it's grown from, your local presence in our pet stores here, and then the online is huge. But I still support local and love our friends over at Pet Headquarters.
Most definitely.
Where I take my Bailey and Gracie to get groomed and supporting your local community and their dog. When you go in a place that they're dog lovers.
Most
That's where you want to
definitely.
be. And you've always been. Tell us about your dogs.
Oh, gee whiz. We have 3 now. So we have the trio going on too. Hazel, which is the spokes dog for Prescott Dog. She was rescued from the Navajo reservation by my husband. A couple years ago, right after Wolfstock, we adopted Tucker. Tucker is a retriever mix that has launched his therapy dog campaign.
Okay.
And then we have Ellie, which just turned 8 months. She was a gift to our family, and she is the spokes dog for Kids Zone magazine.
Oh, okay. And what type of dog is she?
She is a golden retriever.
Oh, beautiful dogs. I tend to have the smaller ones, but that fits my lifestyle. And that's what's neat about Wolfstock going out there, because if you're in the market for a dog, you're looking for a dog to bring into your family because you truly are taking in a new family member. But the breeds and the varieties that you see out there and the choices that you have, what works best for your family? Is it a small dog? Is it personally, if I had a golden or a rough and tumble, throw the stick, the dog runs, that would be what I'd love, but that doesn't necessarily work, so you have to be kind of smart. So
Correct.
You see all the different breeds, like you said, and then you can make an educated, choice in adoption.
From Chihuahua to Great Dane, Boston Terrier to any Heinz 57 American mix you can think of. Each rescue has people dedicated to being able to answer questions, and they interview you and figure out what would be best for your family.
Right.
Because what we don't want is an example of like my canine niece, Cassie, that was in 3 different homes before
Right.
she came to her final place.
So here's this opportunity. You have to come out on Saturday, June 8th,
10
to
to
the
3.
Prescott Valley Civic Center, starting at when?
10 to 3.
10 to 3. There'll be food trucks out there too.
Oh,
Come
most
out and spend the
definitely.
whole day and find perhaps your new family member and your forever friend and give them a home.
Most definitely.
Sherry, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you out there at Wolfstock.
You can't text and pay attention to the world around you, and you definitely can't text and drive. Every year, deaths due to distracted and negligent driving are increasing. In fact, while drunk driving rates have dropped greatly, negligent driving fatalities have skyrocketed. Find out more at negligentdriving.com.
I think it goes around.
Come on, buddy.
I'm here for you.
Oh, it's gonna be great. Look, look.
Why is it so hard?
Let's go. We gotta get you in practice.
I read it. Look, and it's set.
And welcome back to Community Connection. I'm Marnie Yule, your host, and glad you're joining us today. Next up, we have Rick Chase. He's the fire marshal for Central Arizona Fire and Medical Authority, and also it says Division Chief, but I just know him as Lion Rick Roar.
Yes, Roar.
So how are you?
I'm good, Marnie. Thanks.
So things are looking a lot different this year than they did last year at this time as far as fire season, fire danger.
Yes.
We've had a lot of rain, let's just put it that
Yes,
way.
yeah, let's not kid ourselves here. Yeah, they're extremely different.
And lower temperatures.
Yes, yeah. I'm ready for it to be over with, but I do like the rain because obviously it's been good for not only everybody, but now, we can still go out and camp and have our
Right.
fires and everything else. I know last year, typically we go into our stage 1 fire restrictions
Mm-hmm.
throughout the entire area right around Memorial Day weekend. Last year we went into them in April, towards
Right.
the last weekend, and this year we have not even thought about going into them as of yet. So
Right.
it's been nice in that matter.
What's interesting is we've had the winds though.
Yeah.
And I have noticed things dry out, but because
Mm-hmm.
we've had the cooler temperatures and the moisture,
Yeah.
it has not dried, but you still have to water your plants. I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah.
Because I go out there and it's windy, so things are drying out, but they're not, that moisture's still retained
Yes.
at a lower level.
Yeah, in fact, it's and again with the winds, it's the smaller fuels that dry out much quicker, like all the grasses and Chino Valley, Prescott Valley. We have a lot of area that borders all these natural grasses, and because they're so thin and small, they will dry out much quicker than the timber and the pines and everything in the forest.
Right. Well, we've had a couple of little small wildfires though.
Yeah. There's been a couple. I think up near Lynx Lake, they've had a couple in the forest. And also, Marnie, talking about the winds, we get a lot of phone calls from people that want to have their burn permits.
Oh.
They get the burn permits and they'll wonder why, with all the rain, they can't burn when they go to, they go online to activate the burn permit. Well, the reason why is because the winds. They had been over 15 miles per hour sustained, and that's what this is why we don't allow burning on those days. So although we just had rain, a lot of people don't realize that with the winds, that's what prevents that.
Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the rain doesn't actually it's not enough to actually create a tremendous amount of
Yeah.
moisture, and it dries out very quickly with the wind.
Yes. And some of our area may get more rain than others. There may be some of our area that gets no rain. So we have to put a blanket across the board that, when there's no burning, there's no burning.
Period.
Yes, period. And that includes the city of Prescott as well. So
You're all in the same plan.
Yes.
So
Yep.
whatever CAFMA will do, City of Prescott, Forest Service,
Yep.
you're all on the same plan.
That's correct.
And that's good. That keeps the confusion.
Very good.
Saying,
Yep.
well, I'm over here. Is it still the same as
Exactly.
over there? Or now I'm camping and yeah.
Yeah.
Which is nice for us though.
Yes.
Because it's been a wonderful Memorial Day weekend, very low temperatures, with a little bit of the wind and cooler. But again, the opportunities, because we have people coming up here that want to camp. And,
Oh, yeah.
And so that helps because they always like to have fires and, the typical camping stuff. We want to have marshmallows and s'mores and
Oh, yeah.
stuff. So, we've been very fortunate. And do you think that based on the weather that we've had, are we going to maybe dodge fire one restrictions?
Good question. The hopes are it would be nice to not go into fire restrictions.
Right.
And it all depends on when this winter or spring rain truly stops and when the monsoons will begin.
Right.
So, my understanding is we may be getting close to our normal summer weather, which means things will be drying out. And if the monsoons come early, then that can be great because then we'll continue with the rains.
It's so green.
Yeah, it's so green. And we always urge people to, read the newspapers, listen to the radios, get online, check our websites, check our, the local fire department websites and know what's going on because,
Right.
if we do go into fire restrictions, we want, of course, everybody to know that.
Right.
So that people don't go and have their fires and not get that information.
And it's still important that, don't be lulled into, a sense that everything's okay, because you should always still practice
Always.
safe fire handling, or whether you're camping,
Yeah.
whether you have a home that you may need to have defensible space.
Yeah, absolutely. And we always say we're in our fire season year round, even during the winter time.
Yeah.
We've seen wildfires even after it snowed. Of course, the drier it is, the more dangerous it is out there, more hazardous everything is. But we just urge folks to look around your homes, make sure that, now that we've had all this rain, that you make sure your grasses are cut, your deadened down vegetation is removed, your firewood piles are moved away from your homes, and basically anything combustible that's dry, that if a fire was to go to, it would catch your home on fire. You want to remove all that
Right.
and make it safe. Yeah.
Absolutely. Are a lot of these thoughts, are all these ideas, recommendations on your website?
Yeah, they can find a lot of this on our website. And we always tell folks, too, if you have questions that's not on the website, call us. Call our office. And I can give you that number if you'd like.
Well, that would be wonderful.
Yes, it's 928-772-7711. Yeah, and we also have our Facebook page where we put a lot of safety tips on there. So if somebody, has a social media and you get into Facebook, like our Central Arizona Fire page, and you can get a lot of information from there as well.
Yeah, and it's being careful, and that's even, we talk about this time of year, a lot of wildfires, but house fires, and a lot of those are started, with things not be stored correctly.
Correct.
Gas, rat, a lot of that, you gotta make sure that, your garage isn't full of papers and serve as maybe a source of fire.
Yep. Fireplace ash disposal is always a big one where
I love that story.
Yeah, I know. We see it every year, and it's, but it actually seems to be lessening. So hopefully the word is getting out, and people are, realizing to keep their ashes in a metal bucket.
I tell the
trench them.
story, I laugh at that story, and I think it's the best story ever, but it happens. I was living in the rural part of Arizona, and my then husband took a bunch of ashes, and he threw it against like a shed in the ground, but it was but somehow it was up against the shed. Next thing I look outside, and this whole thing's the side of it's on fire. It was and so
Yeah.
I know how quickly that can happen. And when
Oh,
you
yeah.
say that, I said, truly, don't do it, because you will.
Yeah. And the shed probably had all your stuff in it, right?
Well, of course, the shed had the lawnmower, the gas for the
Yeah.
hedge trimmer, and all that
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah.
Of course, I was the first one out with the hose, and
Yes.
we managed to get it out. But it was crazy, and that is how fast things can happen.
Yeah, they spread very fast. They
Yes.
start and spread very fast. So.
Yeah. So just again, being safe.
Yeah. And another reminder, too, to people not only living around here, but tell folks that are coming to visit, is make sure if you're pulling a trailer
Oh yeah.
that you're not dragging the chain or anything else, because we do get a lot of roadside fires at this time of year. And of course, those can grow into very large fires, as we saw in the Viewpoint fire last year. And, we've seen a lot along I-17 coming up from Phoenix.
Yeah.
So, yeah, make sure that you're aware and check your chains thoroughly and make sure that nothing's dragging.
Yeah, because they chain along, so they're just like a series of sparks,
Yes.
and pretty soon you have this whole line of fire.
Yes. It's
Yeah.
all the dry grasses right along the roadway,
Right.
and those will start. All it takes is one spark. So,
One spark can do
Yes.
a lot of damage.
Yes, it can.
And we want to be safe this year. We're
Yeah.
very fortunate. We've had a lot of moisture, and we're looking at, a very optimistic fire, that we
Yes.
will not have quite the fire season, but
Yes.
living where we do, we always have to take that into account.
yep. And
That's
again,
always
if
fun.
you are camping, because you are allowed to have fires, make sure those fires are out before you leave.
Jeez, Fire Marshal, last final words.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us here,
Thank you,
Central
Mark.
Arizona Fire Medical Authority.
Yeah. Thanks.
Oh, look, a redhead. Staring contest. You still got it. I know. Come alive with the forest. The dad was cute.
You were looking right at us.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
They gave me Vicodin after my knee surgery. They kept prescribing it, so I kept taking it. I didn't know it would be this addictive. I didn't know how far I'd go to get more.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
And welcome back to Community Connections. I'm joined by Cindy Gresser. She is the executive director for our very wonderful Smoke Eye Museum here. How you doing, Cindy?
I'm doing great, Marnie. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I was just commenting. I saw her at a gallery opening at the TIS, and she was wearing this most beautiful coat, but...
By Wendell Sakiestua, amazing native Hopi designer out of LA, was very instrumental in our recent Contemporary Native Arts Festival.
That's
and
right.
One of the fashion designers that brought those beautiful clothes out on the runway. And yeah, one of them I I had to buy.
You had-
Actually, I had to buy more than one. All right, that's it.
It's fabulous. So I looked and it
Thank you.
looked very authentic.
Thank you.
It was gorgeous just
Thank you.
seeing it in the pictures. But let's talk about what's going on at the Smoke Eye.
Well, it's summertime, and that means school is right around the corner, and so.
Don't say that. They're
Yeah,
thinking,
I-
we just got out.
You know, we
But for
always
us-
think 2-3 months ahead there,
do.
and have to. So that means that we're getting ready for our backpack drive.
Mm-hmm.
And every year for the past 6 or 7 years, we conduct a backpack and school supply drive, and it started off with, I think, 27 backpacks all those years ago. And last year it was 527 backpacks.
Wow.
And so we
Well,
delivered.
tell us how this project got started, Cindy.
Well, I have a wonderful friend, and her name is Lisa Sosi, and she is also known as the Fry Bread Lady at our Navajo Rug and Indian Art Auctions. And Lisa is a member of the Cornfields chapter of the Native American Church. And what that means is that she interacts with lots of families all the time. And one of the major needs that they have when the kids go back to school up in Navajo country is school supplies and backpacks. These are folks that live in a very, very large area, and Walmart is not around the corner. It's 2, sometimes 3 hours away.
Right. Well, sometimes
And-
you're talking Flagstaff or one of the major cities.
So you need a flash drive, you need a composition notebook. I mean, you're driving to town, and if you want your kids to get their homework done, sometimes that's what it takes. And so we try to acquire as many school supplies as we can in different grade levels, because we outfit kids from 5 and 6 years old all the way up to adults that are going back to school and getting their degrees. And so we collect, these cute little rainbow follow your dream backpacks for the little kids, and fill them up with crayons and construction paper and glue and scissors and all that wonderful stuff. For the middle school kids, we try to give them pens, the pencils, the notebooks. High school kids almost always have to turn in their homework in these composition notebooks. So we get bunches and bunches of those, and then we stock each one of the backpacks age specific.
Right.
And then last year, we were fortunate enough to be able to connect with the San Carlos Apache school system and brought about 120 down to San Carlos, and the rest went up to the Navajo Nation
Right.
in a wonderful day that's called Field Day. And we get there, and we are honored guests, which is really lovely, but we get to sit there and listen to Navajo elders speak to the children all day. And they are required to sit there and to listen to their elders, tell them stories, tell them about what's coming up in life. And then at the end of that, that's when they're gifted all of their backpacks, and we get to eat. Yeah. And it's great. It's great. And it's loads of fun. Loads
Now,
of fun.
you talked about, from the kindergartners, the little tykes, up to adults going back to school. You had a story once you told me about a lady that received a backpack. Can you share that with us?
Sure, it was not last year's drive, but the year before. We had handed out just about everything. I mean, we were down to like kind of the last scraps, and suddenly a woman came up to us, and she had her head down, and she said, "I don't know if I should be asking or not." I said, "Asking what?" And she said, "Well, I'm 45, and I'm going back to school to get my degree. I have to take care of my children, my parents, and I'm going back to school." And we all just went, and back to the van we went, and life is a miracle every day. And there was one backpack that had wheels on it, and a few composition notebooks, and a couple of other ragtag things in the back of the van. And we packed it up and gave it to her, and she started to cry. And she said, "This is the very first backpack I have ever had in my life."
Wow. That's such a wonderful story, and why you do what you do and how we can help. So let's talk about how we can help.
How you can help is either acquire backpacks and school supplies, and please don't pre-pack the backpacks.
Oh, just make them
Just
empty.
bring us the backpacks and bring us the school supplies, because what we do is we try to even it out so that everybody gets about the same thing according to their age groups.
Right.
So bring backpacks, bring school supplies, or simply bring a cash donation. And it can be check, credit card, cash is fine too. But simply tell one of the volunteers at the front desk that you are earmarking that for the backpack program, and we will ensure that all of those funds go strictly to help our Native friends get the best start in school that they possibly can.
It's always so wonderful to hear you tell the stories and the fact that you're out and helping our Native American friends.
Okay, so one from last year really quickly.
Yeah.
2 little girls, they were so darn cute. And one of them had glasses, one of them didn't. One was littler than the other one. And, you know, we have these massive piles of backpacks out on these tables under the big tent. And the kids are looking at them. And so this one girl went and she found this one, and I actually think Billy Orr was the one that donated it because it said, "Follow your dreams." And it had a unicorn on it. It was brightly colored. And she just loved it. And she strapped it on, and her sister saw that, and she was just like... And she went up and was rooting through that whole table. And finally, I walked up to her. I said, "Honey, what are you looking for?" She said, "I want one like hers." I knew we had 2. And so I went through all the boxes, and I've got this great picture of the 2 of them both holding, 2 sisters holding their same backpacks. That was
What's your
last
phone number so people can call you for information, where they can deliver it, where they can, obviously they can go to the Smoke-Eye Museum?
Yep. No, phone number is 928-445-1230. Best place to go is on our website, which is www.smokeeyemuseum.org. We've got it set up so that you can donate right there. Again, earmark it for the backpack program, and we will take care of that. And we are located at 147 North Arizona Avenue, right across from the skate park, and everybody knows where that is.
And if you haven't been there, make that all part of your summer plans to go out to the Smoke-Eye Museum. It's a wonderful museum celebrating Native American art and history and our local history, and it's ups and downs, and it's wonderful.
Amen, sister.
Thank you, Cindy Gresser, for joining us again. The floaties will be gone in 2 weeks, and school supplies will be in. Time to shop. Okay, thank you all for joining us here on Community Connections. Have a great, good week.